Hey folks, Mike Barron here. Today I'd like to talk about the best Punisher movie. For many years, I worked for the Boston Phoenix as the music editor, but I was also a movie reviewer as well. And I remember seeing Emperor of the North um, and many other films for the first time there in a small exclusive viewing room in the Strand Theater in what used to be known as the Combat Zone, which has been completely renovated and is gone today. But many of my friends ask me what I think is the best Punisher movie. Well, I've never seen the Dolph Lundgren movie, but I have seen the other two. And while Ray Stevenson was easily the best Punisher, it was a terrible movie. I've also watched the John Bernthal Netflix series, and while I like John Bernthal a lot and think he's a pretty good Punisher, the stories were needlessly convoluted and didn't do it for me. It's not a hard concept to get hard. It baffles me why movie makers can't get the Punisher right. It's not like they've never done a revenge movie before. Take a look at Dirty Harry. Take a look at Die Hard. Uh, take a look at Death Wish. The American vigilante has been a staple of our history as long as there has been a history. There were real vigilantes in the West, such as Kit Carson and Wyatt Earp. And this is of necessity because as civilization pushed west, it was led by the pioneers, and the pioneers had specific goals: to get rich, stake out their territory, to gamble. They didn't bring a police force along with them, and often it was decades after a community was settled that the community got around saying, hey, you know what, we may need our own police force, let's appoint a sheriff. Up until then, you had vigilantes. The vigilante is beloved in American history. And the Punisher is beloved among vigilantes for good reasons. And people say, well, Mike, what's the best Punisher movie? It's The Equalizer, starring Denzel Washington. And if you doubt me, just watch it. You say, well, that's not really the Punisher. It's true. It's not the Punisher. It's not the trademark and copywritten Punisher. But in another sense, it is the Punisher. And all you have to do is watch the movie to understand. The Equalizer stands head and shoulders above all other Punisher movies that I've ever seen. By Punisher movies, I mean any movie which starts out with an ordinary man whose life is disrupted by murderers or thieves or hit and run drivers, be it Death Wish or Nobody or The Beekeeper or The Baker or any of thousands of movies of that ilk. And then it turns out, whoa, this guy's an ex-CIA assassin. One of the most overused cliches in movie making, but there's a good reason for that, and that is the public will never get enough of revenge movies, and so they keep pumping them out. But like everything else, 90% of them are crap. That's Sturgeon's law. Theodore Sturgeon was a great science fiction writer, and he formulated that law, and it applies to just about everything in the arts. 90% of everything is crap. The Equalizer is not crap. When we first meet Denzel's Robert McCall, he's a manager at a big box store, lives alone, and every night in the wee hours of the morning, he goes to a nearby all-night coffee shop. And he's there one night when he sees a young lady come in wearing a skimpy outfit and heavy makeup, sitting alone at the counter. And they strike up a conversation and become friends. And on another night, she's sitting there when a limousine pulls up outside and disgorges 3 thugs who come in and drag her out. And Denzel gets up and follows them out to the car. He says, is there something going on here? Is there something wrong? And one of the guys says, no, nothing wrong, in Russian accent, nothing wrong. She worked for us. Boss wants to see her. Here's card. come to club. We give you a free lap dance. And the next time he sees her, she's all beat up. And they come in again. So his next step is to go to the club, where he talks his way into the inner sanctum, where these Russian thugs are holding court. And he says, I want to buy her from you. And they say, good, what you offer? $8,000. They laugh at him. They insult him. And they tell him to get the hell out of there. And Denzel turns and he goes to the door and he opens the door. And then he shuts the door. Then he opens the door. Then he shuts the door. He does it one more time, and then he turns around and comes back into the room, and these guys are just itching to waste him. They're all fingering their pistols. But as he's doing this, we see what Denzel sees. The corkscrew on the bar top, the hammer on the desk. And all of a sudden, he explodes into action with a magnificently choreographed fight sequence that's almost too fast to watch, in which he kills the 4 gangsters in the room, finishing up with the big hot shot in charge. He goes back to his ordinary life, managing the big box store. But of course, the gang that was running this high-price hooker outfit in Boston, I might add, can't have this. So they send an enforcer to teach Denzel a lesson. The enforcer is a terrific actor, magnificent actor. And, I can't read this type here, but I'll find it for you real fast. Martin Sokas. Martin Sokas. He's a New Zealand actor, but you'd never know it because he's such a terrific actor. And he comes to Boston and takes over the chairmanship of the rackets and starts delivering a very harsh message to those who did not stand up to Robert McCall. He beats one man to death with his fists. He threatens others, and it escalates from there. I don't want to go blow by blow, except to say that I've watched this movie at least 5 times, and I will watch it 5 times more. It's one of the most satisfying and rational and deep action movies I've ever seen. Everything in it is figured out. Everything in it feels real. It was directed by Antoine Fuqua, who also directed Denzel in Training Day, which I also recommend, another magnificent movie. Equalizer 2 came out a couple of years later. It's pretty good. It's not as good as 1, but it is head and shoulders above all the other ex-CIA agents carrying out vengeance movies that you've ever seen. And finally, Equalizer 3 came out last year. It was the only movie in a theater I saw last year, and it was magnificent. It was just as good as number 1. Although this one takes place in Italy, and you have to watch it very carefully to figure out what's going on. It's on Netflix right now, and I watched it again the other night, and I caught so much more that was going on than I did the first time. It was better than ever. Denzel Washington is 70 years old. He pulled it off because the choreography is very clever. It doesn't involve flying kicks or spitting kicks. It's all very realistic techniques, which you believe he could do. Because I know some 70-year-old guys who are lethal. I'm afraid that because of Denzel's age, it's going to be the last one he does. And I hope that someone else will come along and offer an action movie that's as exciting and dramatic and well thought out as these are. I see now that Antoine Fuqua is going to direct Denzel in the story of Hannibal, the great African explorer. And people are screaming because by all accounts, Hannibal was of Greek descent and he was light-skinned. But all I can say is Antoine Fuqua and Denzel Washington have earned my trust. And I will be more than happy to watch that movie. There's another movie that Denzel made. which is in that vein. Man on Fire. If you have not seen this, I urge you to watch it. It's an absolute masterpiece of the revenge thriller. Denzel plays a washed up ex CIA agent who drinks heavily. And his friend Christopher Walken gets him a job as a bodyguard for a wealthy family in Mexico City, where kidnapping is a way of life. And that's how thousands of people get rich, by kidnapping somebody from a wealthy family and demanding $1 million to return them. This movie will blow your mind. It's Tony Scott's masterpiece. We lost a great talent when Tony Scott killed himself. I wish he'd stuck around to do some more movies with Denzel, but I will be grateful with what we've had. So that's it for now. That's it for the Punisher movies. Thank you for watching. I'm going to try and weigh in once a week from now on and talk about the things we watch, listen to, and read. How do I get out of here? Oh, I see.